him a ton. But Cam Michael, number 18, this dude can fly. Just what is he? I don't even know his 40 what it is, but he is one that play on NCAA and you're going to get close to a 98 speed if he's not already there yet. He can fly. Really, really excited. Really, really excited to have him to see if he gets burned this year because he's going to be special. Just tons and tons of speed. So the tight end room returning Savell Smalls. So he had 9 catches for 68 yards. And again, I think we saw him number 31 last year. If he didn't, the Buffs were missing a tight. They're in need of a tight end last year. And a receiving tight end. Smalls does a pretty good job, as those other things. But again, there needs to be that threat of a tight end that'll go up and get it, box you out, or go grab a rebound. Sam Hart, he'll be back. Limited action in 24, appeared in 6 games, logging 24 special team snaps. So again, as you all can see, the way that sounds is, yeah, they were in need of a receiving tight end. And again, what you can see, and not one that's a freshman coming in ready to play right away, one that it was pretty established and could lead that room. So just want to think about there. Now, some additions through the transfer portal. First, we'll go over transfer portal. Let me see. Here's a question. Which position group is most underrated right now? Man, that's tough. I mean, underrated, I would say the linebacker room. I know a lot of people were upset watching the videos because the linebackers are hitting the wrong holes and doing those kind of. I did see those where we seen Reggie Hughes and French hit the wrong hole or scrape too far down the line, whatever it may be, or in the box, we should say. So I think the linebacker room. Again, they're more athletic. They have, I think that's the most underrated part. I wanted to say the running back room, but again, when you have your 2 running backs that are going to get the majority of the snaps as preseason watch list for the Doak Walker Award, I mean, I don't really think they're underrated at that point. So that's what I would normally have said before. But honestly, I think it's the linebacker room. I think we're going to be pretty surprised. Most of us will be with what Reggie Hughes brings, what Martavius French brings, and one Kylan Salter. So I'm excited to watch him play and having him out there, Kylan Salter on those passing downs and watching him run and fly around and cover people. So yeah, real excited for that. But I would say linebacker right now. Back into our receivers. So here's the transfer portal addition. So Joseph Williams coming from Tulsa. He was the AAC? I think that's the conference. So that Tulsa plays in was the American Conference Freshman of the Year. He had 30 receptions, 588 receiving yards. These were second on the team. He also caught 5 touchdowns, averaged 19.6 yards per catch. And this was good for 12th in the country. So, and again, just as far as average per reception. So one to watch. He is one that will go up and get the ball. Really good receiver coming in, still young, 3 years of eligibility left for him. Next one, Hakeem Williams from Florida State. I have no idea how this was not made a bigger deal. This is a former 5-star recruit, 6'3", 220. He, in the class of 2023, he was the 4th ranked wide receiver and number 24th overall. So again, I don't know why no more are not talking about it, but Hakeem Williams is, again, that's going to be one that he comes out of nowhere and I'm like, who is this? And like, it is not one of those guys. This is a former 5-star. This is a former 5-star who tons of talent. That again, if you watched any Florida State or remember what Florida State did last year, it was not good. So how much of that was technically, what Florida State looked like versus, players not being involved, right? Because we all watched DJU play last year and that was rough. So was that last year or the year before? Whenever it was, but these last couple, last year was really bad for Florida State. Sincere Brown. Now this one is huge upside guy, and no pun intended when we start going over him. 1,028 yards, 12 touchdowns. in his 2 years at Campbell. He is 6'5", 195 pounds. Reports are he runs a 4.3 40 at that size. So if you can just imagine that in the Big 12 with, you start thinking about this, right? What that offense could look like. Sincere Brown's out there, then there's so many different options to go with, right? With you have to not only guard that and the deep ball. So do you keep a safety in? Do you move a safety in the box to stop, Caden Salter on those those read options, those RPOs, all these different things. It is going to be somewhat of a nightmare. But again, this is a huge upside guy. High floor, high floor, low ceiling. What am I? High ceiling. And with the medium floor going on there. So I'm really excited to watch him. Coming back is Jack Hystera. He left the Buffs, went to Utah State, and he will be back. So went to Utah State in May of 24, left, and now he's back with Colorado. So really, glad he's back with the Buffs, and we'll see. He had some pretty, some good production there at Utah State. And then tight end that they added in the portal. So from Northwest Missouri State, Zach Atkins, 6'4", 240 pounds. Some say he's 6'5", 6'6". But again, that's going to be your receiving threat now. And again, that offense ran the ball a ton. But when we do look at it, that was a running offense. So he had, I think it was 360 receiving yards last year at Northwest Missouri State. But again, one that I'm really excited to watch because now you have that big tight end target. Freshman prospects, Quanell Farrakhan Jr., route runner, return acid. So he did both. I should say he played receiver, obviously, but was a return guy as well and really good at that. Out of Houston, Texas, 6'1", 180, 4-star, ranked 47th in the nation. So again, that is one player to watch this year and watch him develop as we move on. So they also landed another 4-star, but he hit the portal. Like I said, we would talk about Adrian Wilson, originally committed, then hit the portal. He's now at UNC. So he's gone. But again, hopefully that's where a good place for him. So again, wish him nothing but the best there. Tight ends that were recruited. So Zane D'Souza, local kid out of Loveland, and Loveland, Colorado, that we talked and luckily he chose Colorado and didn't end up at CSU. So he picked way better of than that other team up there in Fort Collins. So he was a 3-star. He's height and weight first. 6'6", 260 pounds. Now, what you're going to start seeing now with Colorado, even with Gavin Mueller, who we talked about, the Buffs are targeting huge tight ends. So whether they great at blocking or route running, catching, they are trying to get these humongous tight ends there. At Colorado, it's only a matter of time before they land one of those 4-star, 5-star tight ends. And again, that was a huge piece missing last year. You start to think, what if they had a receiving tight end as well as a couple other things? So, so just pretty excited to see what that is. But yeah, Zane D'Souza, one to watch. Again, rare physical frame, athletic, mismatch potential, both as a receiver and blocker, and may develop into a hybrid offensive lineman, tight end role. One that comes to my mind a lot. Nate Solder originally went to Colorado to be a tight end and ended up being a really great left tackle, Super Bowl winning left tackle with the Patriots. And again, he was from Buena Vista, Colorado. Can players still come out of the portal? I saw somebody sign out of the portal. Was that this week? So I think they can. I don't know if that's just offers that they had received, but it does come into a time where it's over. I would have to check the dates on that. So feel free to text that over to the voicemail, the 720 number, that new line that we have set up. And that's something we can come back to the show with next week on Monday. Next guy, Corbin Lazier, out of Tennessee, 6'5", 225 pounds. Again, we look at this guy. There is a certain there is a certain body frame, that they're targeting. And again, as we start tracking this, or if you have tracked this, I should say, there is a certain weight, height, speed, whatever it may be, that can do certain things that Colorado targets at each position. And again, offensive line, huge offensive lineman, right? That's what Colorado's looking for because again, you win in the trenches. But here, this is what they're targeting: these humongous tight ends. So again, just something to keep your eye on. You'll start to see the profile that they're looking for there. He's a 3-star, ranked around, I want to 62nd tight end in the nation coming out. Not sure how much he'll play, or again, that tight end room, it looks a lot different this year, just to be completely honest. And again, it needed to. So want to keep your eye on there. So Corbin Laser. So, from the press conference today, what is Dion hinting at when he said the next phase is we're going to win differently, but we're going to win? I think what he is meaning is they're going to start. So this is one that I did see, and I was like, was he talking about Shador? Was he talking about the team? But as a team, this team's going to look a lot different this year. You're going to see a lot more ball control, a lot more running the football, careful, when they take their shots. I think that's what he's talking about. And again, this team is going to be a lot more physical. So, what I like to keep going back to, it's not going to be that heavy run because the game has changed. But you watch those early 2000 Colorado Buffalo teams, they would just, that front offensive line would just beat the hell out of the guys across from them. And they were big dudes. Again, Andre Giroux back on the staff. Just humongous. So that is what I think they mean. Again, that defensive line that we talked about, humongous as well. So just in my opinion, that's what he's talking about there. And again, they are going to start winning games. Like I said, they are a all around better team this year. They do have a tougher schedule, which we'll get into when we get into the schedule. I was going to bring that to the actual ranking they had. We'll talk more about that when it gets here. But Colorado is going to be one of the bigger teams in the Big 12. You almost look at it and say, well, they have like a SEC Big 10 offensive line right now, just size. But again, they're going to dominate in the trenches on the offensive side. Again, even Coach Prime said today, what's the biggest area? What was the biggest area that they saw the biggest improvement or impressed the most? And he said offensive line. There's 9 guys that could start. So that just kind of tells you the depth that has been built there. Again, you can never have, some of these positions, you can never have enough offensive linemen, you can never have enough defensive linemen and defensive backs. So those are kind of your 3 positions where depth, if I would say, really, really matter on a college team. Quarterback, NFL, that's just kind of not a thing to have more than one good quarterback. But yeah, so in college, I think, capable guy behind the quarterback, obviously, but then behind QB1, and then your defensive line, offensive line, and defensive backs is where you need depth. And Colorado has those right now. So anyway, just that's what I think he means by that. One more guy. Oh, almost forgot about him. Quentin Gibson. If you want to watch somebody in high school that was just, the best player on the field, Quentin Gibson, again, 4-star, 5'9", 155 pounds out of North Crowley High School. They won state champions. I actually watched that game. I think it was on YouTube. I don't remember where I watched it, but I was watching it. I streamed it. Out of Fort Worth, Texas, originally committed to TCU. Didn't have a ton of offers before his senior year. CU saw something there. He was originally a 3-star last year. She's 3-star up until, I want to say till like December or January last year. They bumped him up to a 4-star. Some sites, I shouldn't say all, some sites bumped him to a 4-star. He was the Max Preps National High School Player of the Year. So not just like Texas or just at the receiver. He was the best player in high school football, is what according to Max Preps. So he caught 93 passes last year for 2,009 yards. This is 9th in the yards, ninth in Texas high school football history. And again, that is saying something. That's Texas. That's the cream of the crop of high school football. Um, so yeah, just something to keep your eyes on with that. And he had 36 touchdowns. This is one season. This is just his senior year. He had 36 touchdowns again. This is fourth in Texas high school football history. When you even just start thinking about the receivers that came out of Texas, right? Tim Brown, what Texas is Roy Williams. You start thinking about all these different receivers that are from Texas, and for Quentin Gibson to put those kind of numbers up, again, in my opinion, that's a 5-star. Um, and again, maybe you don't like his size, his size and weight, height and weight, but there was no reason for him not to be a 5-star with those type of numbers at that competition in Texas, winning state championships. He had a fantastic year. So really excited for him. Excited to see if we see him touch the field this year. Let me see with Deion Sanders saying he feels healthy and like his old self. Is he back in day-to-day practice? I think my understanding is he has been there every day. He rides up on his golf cart. I don't think that golf cart has some dubs on it. It looks good though. So pretty sure that's what I would make mine look like that. So, but pretty sure he's been there, starting to feel like his own self. Delegated more. I think Coach Prime does a great job of doing that anyway. As a great leader, that is one of the things you should do is delegate instead of putting all you carrying it yourself, carrying all the brunt of it. But he does a great job with that. Just a great head coach, manager of people. So my understanding is he didn't delegate. He said something, was it last Monday's press conference? Something about someone says, "Are you going to ask your staff?" And he's like, "To do more?" He's like, "No, I'm here. I'm doing my thing." So my answer to that, everything that I've seen, that we've heard him say, nothing really changes. Nothing has changed. So again, which is a good thing. Depth chart. So your wide receivers. So your X and Z receivers. So at the X, whatever you want to call your outside receivers, you're gonna have Omari and Miller. That'll be I have him as the X again. Depending, Colorado doesn't do a ton of that, putting strictly your X, your Z. They don't do a ton of that. Essentially lining up on the same side of the field. But the outside receivers I have is Omari and Miller. On the other side of him, this is tough. So part of me wants to say Sincere Brown. The other part wants to say Joseph Williams, and then you want to say Hakeem Williams. We'll see what they do. Again, these dudes are all going to play. I do want to see Cam Michael play a lot more because that's lightning in a bottle right there. That dude can fly. Again, he's a redshirt freshman, so 4 years of eligibility, all 4 years still. And at slot, I would be very comfortable putting Draylen Miller there. Dre's going to have a big year. Again, think Debo Samuel with him. And then for the slot, you'll see Isaiah Harge play there. Number 17, again, the guy that we talked about both sides of the ball. And then I really want to see Quentin Gibson touch the field in the slot just to see what he can do. He had a great catch earlier in the week, but really excited to see him touch field. So again, when I talk about I think this is the best position group that Colorado has in the on the roster. I think this is the best overall receiving corps in the Big 12, and again, quite frankly, one of the best in the nation